the small group of sentients meet as the sun faded, as was tradition. They stood in a circle, chewing their cud as they chewed over what was going on in their community. "There is a treaty," said one. "That is what the reports call it, at least." It read like surrender. Several pairs of ears turned to the second speaker. Most had not had time to digest the news yet. "There are words of planets ceded," the speaker went on wetly, "of colonies to be relinquished, trade routes to be abandoned." "So much for the dream of new fields," a third speaker said, "of bluer grass. Now we must return to home and crowded meadows." There were a chorus of wetly murmured agreements. It was several days later when the group meet again. "When will the ships come?" "Soon, I hope. This colony, this planet, is to be abandoned. We know. Already the enemy has ships in orbit. Soon. They likely are evacuating the larger colonies first." Another few days passed before the group meet again. No one was chewing cud. "When will the ships come?" I think they may not come. But they were forgotten, abandoned. As a... The speaker looked like he wanted to spit, but thought better of it. "A political convenience." He finished. "We're cast out from the herd?" "Not cast out. Forgotten by the herd. So now we die? I say we fight. Make our own herd. There is almost 3,000 of us." There were vague and uncertain noises of agreement in the circle. "We can't win, but we can postpone losing. Hold the line as long as we can." "Agreed. I'll set the colony's communication array to send an automatic signal for help." Again there were noises of agreement from around the circle, less uncertain this time. It was again days later. "The line?" "The line holds. For now. The communication array was hit last night." "We know. Did anyone respond?" "There was a weak, partial message just before it went down, which said, 'As best we can work out, the recovered part read, do not know you then nothing.' So nothing." "Seems so." "Shall we give up?" "No, hold the line. If we fight, all that will happen is that we die. If we don't fight, we will be lucky if we die." There was no uncertainty in the agreements. It was 2 days after. Through the overcast sky there was a distant sound of rolling thunder, making several of the colonists look to the sky. As their eyes searched for the source, several dozen fireballs came screaming through the cloud layer. One by one the fireballs subsided, revealing small black objects falling fast. Panic started to spread as each object deployed chutes. Barely slowed by the chutes, the objects slammed into the ground in the fields, not a single one hitting a house or other structure. Some form of weapon? Doubtful, they seemed to have avoided hitting anything of value. As the locals slowly began to peer out of windows and doorways, the objects opened with puffs of compressed gas. From each, a biped figure emerged and formed up in small group. Smaller groups joined up into larger groups. The larger groups joined up into a single group. Then they all split into small groups again and spread out. 2 of the figures made their way toward a cluster of locals. The lead figure made a complex motion with an upper limb, its grasping digits touching its head while the other scanned the area. "I'm Captain Smith, 2nd Company, 7th Terran Espetiers Regiment. I would like to speak to whoever is in charge here, please." It was a little later, in the shade of one of the big buildings still standing. "We don't know about Terra, human Captain Smith. You say your species is not in the Federation. You are not part of the coalition. You don't belong to the hegemony." "We are not wholly on anyone's side," the captain said as he adjusted his webbing, "because no one seems to be all the way on our side. But we cannot ignore a cry for help. But why? If you are not part of the herd, why? You were abandoned by the herd, you said. But you choose to resist. You choose to fight. We don't know you from Adam, so we came to help. There was the sound of wet agreements as several of the locals chewed cud and digested the news. There was a sudden wet gurgle in a corner. Both the locals and the captain turned to look. "Corporal Joshson," Smith said levelly. "What are you doing?" The other Terran turned to face the captain, but remained sitting in front of a young local child. "Sir." Making young Shella laugh, sir. As he spoke, Joshson twirled a power cell between his fingers, making it seemingly appear and disappear. "Very well, Corporal, carry on." Her father held the line the first day. One of the locals said as they turned away again, "She has not spoken since." But the line held. And it will keep holding. The captain said, "Now I would like to see some maps before I have some suggestions." It was even later. The captain was pointing at a crude map drawn on the floor. "So we hold the line. My espeteers will reinforce here, here, and here. In 2 days, the TSS Lokwat Wakanda will be close enough to launch recovery shuttles. Yes? Your ship is not in orbit now? How did you get here before it?" Standard ballistic insertion. We launched as soon as we had a good fix and a decent trajectory. 4 days in the pod, it was a jagged jaunt. You did that. For us? As I said, you asked for aid. We don't know you from Adam, so we came. The sounds of approval and awe filled the building. As I said, they will launch recovery shuttles. How many of you are still? 2,500. Swen. The signal said 3,000? But the line holds. The line holds and will hold. Where can we land the shuttles? There's a spaceport. Outside the line. I see. The captain pondered. We must extend the line there then. In the early light of the morning, they meet again. The line? The line holds, Captain. Your espeteers fight like demons. I know. They say your people are fierce fighters. When we must. Why were some of your soldiers emptying the fertilizer warehouse in the night? They all turned at the sound of shuffling. Corporal, what are you doing? Sir. I am being, Corporal Joshson looked up at Shala, who were astride his back. A brule. The child said excitedly. A domesticated beast of burden. One of the locals added helpfully. A horsey, sir. Very well, Corporal, carry on. As I was saying, the captain continued after turning back. It was full of ammonium nitrate. My espeteers will show your people ways to hold the line with it. And at the right time, move the line. It was later the same day. The enemy knows you are here, Captain. They redoubled their efforts here and here. The captain nodded as he bent over the map. Losses? About 215 Terrans. 215. But the line held? The line holds. What should we do with your dead? Bury them alongside your fallen. They fought together, they died together, and they will face the afterlife together. But, yes, it will be done. We will give them the same honors as our fallen. 215. In just a few hours. But they held the line. The captain looked up from the map. A tired smile appeared as he watched Corporal Joshson and Shala walking along the line of wounded. We don't know you from Adam, he said as he nodded towards the odd pair, and those two recognized that were kin. As night approached, the captain and several locals leaned over the map again. Captain, we must pull back at this point if we're to have enough forces to break through to the spaceport. We would risk an enemy breakthrough here, and if we lose the flank, we'll ask for volunteers. If they move fast when the signal goes out, they can still make evacuation. Yes. The line must hold just a day more. Just 1 day more, Captain. And then a break for the spaceport. Let us go over the timings once again. The shuttles cannot stay on the ground very long. Can they lift 2100? Not officially. But this is a low-gravity world. We just have to pack in tight and leave everything behind. Light slowly spread as the sun feebly shone through the dust and haze. The line holds, Captain. And it will be held. For a few more hours. We're getting low on power cells and medical supplies. Yes, but your medics are working wonders. We would not have 2000 still holding the line if they were not here. The wounded will travel slower, but they will make it. The noon sun was beating down. Shuttle launch has been confirmed. Good news, Captain. So, we start moving? We start moving. A strong wedge in front, skirmishers on either flank, and the non-fighters in the middle. We have requests from several volunteers to stay behind and hold the line. To buy us more time. I know. I don't like it. But it would delay the enemy. They all watched as the children, elderly, and wounded formed up among the bustling troops. A human figure moved among them, a child riding his shoulders. Your corporal is good with children. He must be a good father. He was until... Never mind. We need to move. Hours later, hundreds of faces were turned skywards as the first shuttles came in. Remember, children and non-combatants on the first. Then load according to the plan. The last group holds the line until the signal. The line will hold. Any words from the volunteers? They hold their line still. Good. Now let us hustle. We got 1800 to load and lift. We still don't know why you came to help, but, as I said, we don't know you from Adam. But that is for later. The captain looked over the pandemonium of the spaceport, shaking his head as he saw a figure moving towards the outer perimeter. Corporal Joshson. Where do you think you're going? Sir. To help hold the line, sir. Like hell you are, Corporal. You're going to be on the first flight out, and that is an order. But, sir. An order, Corporal. There's a girl there that doesn't know you yet. Sir. Later, as the TSS Look What Wakando was burning hard to leave the system, the captain walked through the sick bays, speaking softly with every single wounded. Corporal Joshson, as you were. The corporal looked up from his seat beside the medbed. Sir, this is Shala's mother. She held the line and was on the last flight out, sir. Will she make it? Sir, I think. Yes. Yes, she will, sir. The corporal thought for a second before speaking again. Captain, can I request that I... Granted. Stay with her and Shala. Help them hold this line. And that is an order if anyone wonders. Sir. Some of the locals caught up with the captain as he was leaving the infirmary. Captain, the last volunteers just signaled that they were preparing to blow up their positions. I see. They held the line this long. They held the line so the rest could escape. We call it a retreat, not an escape. A good word. We wish to thank you for coming to our aid. How could we not? But you don't. Didn't know us or who we are. And yet, you still saved more than 1600 of us. That reminds me, the captain said as he smiled. I've been informed that my translation has been a bit wrong. It shouldn't be don't know you from Adam. It should be can't tell you apart from Adam. We see. Who is Adam? The first human, and by extension, any human. Like you or me or Corporal Joshson back there? They all turned and looked into the large infirmary, where two figures sat by a medbed, waiting. One Terran Espatier, one local child. Two humans waiting for a third to recover,